Welcome 2008 5 cent to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, right? After all, most of us barely glance at the coins we receive at a grocery store or the loose change sitting in an old jar at home. But hidden among millions of ordinary coins could be one tiny piece of metal that collectors would fight over. Today, we're diving into the mysterious and incredibly valuable 2008 P5 cent coin from the United States. A coin so ordinary in appearance that many people have spent it without a second thought. Yet, under the right circumstances, it has been rumored and estimated by elite collectors to reach astonishing values approaching $8 million. Yes, you heard that right. A simple nickel potentially worth the price of luxury mansions, exotic cars, and a lifetime of financial freedom. And here's the truly chilling part. Examples of this coin may still be sitting unnoticed in coin jars, drawers, and piggy banks across the country. But before we reveal the hidden details that could transform this humble 5 cent piece into one of the most shocking finds in modern coin collecting, make sure you stay with me until the end, because the next coins we're going to explore later in this series become even more mysterious and controversial. Coins that collectors whisper about, but almost never see in public. Now let's travel back to the year 2008. The United States Mint had already been producing the Jefferson nickel design for decades, featuring the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front and his historic home Monticello on the reverse. In 2008 alone, hundreds of millions of nickels were struck across different mint facilities, including Philadelphia, which is marked by the small P mint mark on the coin. On the surface, there was nothing unusual about the production that year. The coins were made from the typical copper-nickel alloy. Machines stamped them rapidly, and they entered circulation just like every other nickel produced before them. But history has shown that the most valuable coins are often born from tiny, nearly invisible mistakes. During the high-speed minting process, dies, the metal molds that stamp the coin's design, endure tremendous pressure. Over time, they crack, shift, or down, or are accidentally misaligned. Most of the time, these flawed coins are caught and destroyed, but every so often a few slip out into circulation. That's where the legend of the 2008 P5 cent rarity begins. According to several collectors and numismatic researchers, a microscopic die misalignment combined with a rare metal planchet variation may have produced an extremely limited number of nickels with unusual strike characteristics. At first glance, they appear normal, but under magnification, something strange becomes visible. The letters "In God We Trust" may appear slightly doubled. The steps of Monticello on the reverse may show an ultra-sharp strike far beyond typical production quality. And in some rumored specimens, faint die cracks form lightning-like lines across Jefferson's portrait, evidence of a die that was near catastrophic failure during minting. Now you might be thinking, errors happen all the time in coin production, so why would this one be worth millions? That's where the mystery deepens. Reports from advanced collectors claim that a handful of these coins were struck on experimental planchets, metal blanks that differed slightly in composition from the standard nickel alloy. If true, that would mean the coin isn't just an error, but possibly an accidental test piece that slipped into circulation. In the world of numismatics, experimental pieces can become legendary. Think about it. If only a few exist, collectors compete fiercely to own them. And when elite collectors compete, prices explode. There have been whispers in private auctions and collector forums that one specimen of the rare 2008 P5 cent error reached an estimated valuation close to $8 million after intense bidding discussions. While such sales are often conducted privately and rarely publicized, the possibility alone has sent coin hunters across America digging through every nickel they can find. Imagine the scenario. You're cleaning out an old drawer. A dusty jar of coins rattles as you pick it up. Most of the coins are ordinary: pennies, quarters, maybe a few nickels. But one of them, stamped with the year 2008 and the tiny P mint mark, could be the coin collectors dream about. The kind of discovery that turns an ordinary afternoon into a life-changing moment. Stories like this are exactly why coin collecting has exploded in popularity over the past decade. People realize that rare treasures don't always come from pirate ships or buried chests. Sometimes they come from pocket change. And the 2008 P nickel represents that thrilling possibility. But identifying the truly valuable specimen requires attention to detail. Collectors recommend examining the coin under bright light or a magnifying glass. Look carefully at Jefferson's portrait. Are there faint doubling effects around the lettering or the eye? Check the Monticello building on the reverse. Are the steps unusually crisp and fully defined? Notice any strange cracks or lines that appear to run across the surface. These could be clues pointing toward the ultra-rare minting anomaly that has driven collectors into a frenzy. Another fascinating element is the timing. In 2008, the U.S. Mint was operating at massive capacity to meet circulation demands. When machines run that quickly, quality control sometimes struggles to keep up. Historically, several famous era coins, including multi-million-dollar rarities, emerged during periods of intense production like this, which raises a haunting question. How many of these rare nickels actually escaped the mint? 1. 5. Maybe a small handful quietly spent at gas stations and grocery stores before anyone realized what they were. Somewhere out there, someone may have already held one and never knew its value. Even more incredible is the possibility that a pristine specimen could still be hiding in an unopened bank roll of nickels from 2008. Coin roll hunters, collectors who search through rolls of coins from banks, have been hunting relentlessly for years hoping to uncover this exact piece. Because if they do, the payoff could be historic. Think about it. A coin originally worth just 5 cents, potentially transforming into an object valued at millions. That kind of transformation is what fuels the entire rare coin world. But here's where things get even more interesting. Some experts believe the Philadelphia Mint wasn't the only location where unusual 2008 nickels were produced. Another mint facility produced its own batch that year, and rumors suggest that a different kind of rare error may exist among those coins as well. We'll get into that story later, and trust me, it's even more unbelievable. In fact, one upcoming coin we'll discuss later has collectors arguing about whether it should even exist at all. But for now, the 2008 P5 cent coin remains one of the most intriguing modern mysteries in U.S. coinage. It represents the thrilling possibility that extraordinary value can hide inside ordinary objects. The nickel sitting unnoticed on a dresser could actually be a piece of minting history. And the person who spots the subtle differences first could walk away with a fortune that changes their life forever. So the next time you receive change at a store, pause before tossing those coins aside. Take a closer look at any nickel dated 2008 with that tiny P mint mark. Because somewhere among the billions of ordinary coins, a microscopic minting accident may have created a multi-million-dollar treasure. And if you think this story is shocking, wait until you hear about the next coin in this series. A coin from the same year, but a different mint mark that has sparked rumors, secret trades among collectors, and one of the most heated debates in modern numismatics. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss what comes next. Next, 2015 5 cent to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine paying for a snack, receiving a few coins back, and unknowingly holding something that collectors would be willing to fight over at auctions. It sounds impossible, but hidden among the billions of everyday coins is one tiny piece of metal that has stunned collectors and sparked unbelievable rumors in the numismatic world. Today we're talking about the mysterious 2015 P5 cent coin from the United States, a coin so ordinary in appearance that most people would spend it without a second thought. Yet certain rare versions of it have been whispered about, with jaw-dropping valuations reaching as high as $15 million. Yes, you heard that right. $15 million for a single nickel. But before you assume that's just hype, stay with me, because the story behind this coin involves minting quirks, collector obsession, and the real possibility that one could still be hiding in circulation right now. And later in this video, we'll also talk about another coin from the same year that might surprise you even more. But for now, let's uncover why the 2015 P5 cent became such a fascinating mystery in the collecting world. To understand the legend of this coin, we have to travel back to 2015, when the United States Mint was producing millions upon millions of Jefferson nickels for everyday circulation. The design most Americans recognize features Thomas Jefferson on the front and his historic home, Monticello, on the reverse. By 2015, this design had already been circulating for years after the redesigns of the early 2000s, meaning the coin looked completely ordinary. Nothing flashy, nothing rare. At least that's what people thought. The Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the tiny P mint mark on the coin, struck hundreds of millions of these nickels that year. Most of them are still worth exactly 5 cents today. But collectors eventually began noticing something strange in a handful of coins that slipped into circulation. It started quietly, with a coin dealer noticing an odd detail under magnification, a subtle but unmistakable doubling in Jefferson's I and along parts of the lettering. At first, it looked like a simple dye deterioration effect, but when more examples began surfacing, experts realized it might actually be something far more interesting, a rare double dye variety created during the dye manufacturing process. In the world of coin collecting, double dyes can transform an ordinary coin into a treasure because they're created before the coin is even struck. That means every coin struck from that flawed die carries the same distinctive doubling. But here's where the mystery deepens. The 2015 P double die nickel appears to have been struck in extremely small numbers, possibly only a few thousand coins before the mint replaced the die. Most of those coins likely disappeared into circulation, mixed with billions of others. And because the doubling is subtle, the majority of people never noticed it. They spent them on coffee, tossed them into jars, or lost them under couch cushions. Yet collectors who did notice began quietly hunting for them. Then came the moment that changed everything. A pristine example of the suspected variety surfaced in near-perfect condition from a sealed roll of 2015 nickels. When grading experts examined it under high magnification, they confirmed strong doubled features on Jefferson's eye, the word liberty, and parts of the date. The coin graded extremely high on the condition scale, something collectors call mint state. Suddenly, whispers began circulating in the numismatic community that this could become one of the most famous modern nickel varieties ever discovered. Early private sales pushed prices into the tens of thousands of dollars, then six figures. Then rumors exploded online about a specimen that could theoretically command astronomical value if the variety proved rarer than expected. Some enthusiastic collectors even speculated about valuations reaching $15 million if a flawless specimen appeared in a legendary auction setting. Whether or not such a price would actually be realized remains debated, but the possibility alone turned the 2015 P nickel into a modern treasure hunt. And here's the incredible part. These coins were never meant to be rare. They were minted for everyday spending. That means somewhere out there, in piggy banks, coin jars, vending machine change trays, or forgotten drawers, one of these rare varieties could still be waiting to be discovered. Imagine finding one while counting spare change at home. It sounds unbelievable, yet stories like that happen more often than you might think in the world of coin collecting. Over the years, people have discovered valuable coins in inherited collections, loose pocket change, and even parking meters. The thrill comes from the fact that you never truly know what you might find until you look closely. That's exactly why collectors began examining every 2015 nickel they could find. Roll hunters, people who buy rolls of coins from banks to search for rarities, began opening thousands of rolls hoping to spot that telltale doubling. Online forums filled with magnified photos, debates, and excitement. Some coins turned out to be ordinary machine doubling, while others showed hints of the true variety. Every discovery added more fuel to the legend. And if you're thinking about checking your own nickels right now, there are a few things collectors recommend looking for. First, check the mint mark under the year. It must have the small p indicating Philadelphia. Then examine Jefferson's I and the word Liberty. On the rare double die variety, the letters may appear slightly thickened or doubled when viewed under magnification. It's subtle, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Another factor that makes certain examples incredibly valuable is condition. Coins that remain crisp, shiny, and free of scratches are dramatically more valuable than worn ones. That's why the coin discovered in the sealed roll created such excitement. It had never circulated. Now here's something that makes this story even more fascinating. Modern coins rarely achieve legendary status because they're produced in such massive numbers. Yet every once in a while, a tiny minting anomaly slips through quality control and creates a new rarity that collectors obsess over. The 2015 P5-cent coin is one of those fascinating cases where a tiny imperfection may have turned an ordinary nickel into a multi-million-dollar conversation piece. And remember, the majority of these coins look exactly the same as the valuable variety. That means people across the country may have already spent them without realizing it. Think about that for a moment. A coin worth thousands, maybe far more, could have passed through dozens of hands in a single week. This is exactly why seasoned collectors always say one thing: never underestimate pocket change. But here's where the suspense deepens, because this coin isn't the only surprising nickel from 2015. Somewhere out there is another version from the same year that collectors have been hunting with equal intensity. In fact, some experts believe that if the right example appears in top condition, it could completely shock the coin collecting world. So before you dismiss the nickels in your pocket, remember that the next coin we're about to talk about might be even more mysterious than this one. And trust me, the story behind it is something you definitely don't want to miss. Next, 2010 5 cent to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like a fantasy told by coin collectors late at night. But sometimes the smallest, most ordinary coins hide the most unbelievable secrets. Today we're talking about a coin that millions of Americans have handled without a second thought. The 2010 P5 cent coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it looks completely normal, the same coin you might use for a vending machine or drop into a parking meter. But hidden among the billions produced in 2010 are a few mysterious examples that collectors believe could be worth as much as $10 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single 5 cent coin potentially valued at the price of a luxury mansion. And before we uncover exactly why this coin can command such a staggering value, stay with me until the very end of this video, because later we're also going to talk about another 2010 nickel that came from a different mint, one that might be even more shocking when you learn what collectors are secretly searching for. Now let's step into the fascinating story behind the 2010 P. Jefferson nickel. The P. mint mark means the coin was struck at the famous Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most historic mint facilities in the United States. The design features the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front, originally created by Felix Schlagback in 1938 and redesigned in the modern series that began in 2006. On the reverse side sits the iconic image of Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home, detailed with precision. In 2010, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins for circulation. They were meant to be ordinary pocket change. Nothing special, nothing rare, nothing worth hoarding. Or so people believed. But sometimes, in the fast-paced environment of the mint where thousands of coins are produced every minute, tiny mistakes slip through. And those mistakes can transform an ordinary coin into something legendary. One of the most talked about possibilities with the 2010 P nickel is an extremely rare die error that specialists refer to as a multi-strike rotated die anomaly. In simple terms, this means the coin may have been struck more than once while the die had slightly rotated between strikes. The result is a coin where design elements appear doubled or shifted in strange directions. At first glance, someone unfamiliar with rare coins might assume it's just a damaged nickel. But to an experienced collector, it's like discovering buried treasure. Another rumored variety involves a dramatic off-center strike combined with a partial missing rim. Imagine a nickel where Jefferson's face appears slightly pushed toward one edge, while the opposite side looks stretched and incomplete. Only a handful of such coins are believed to have escaped the mint before quality control caught the issue. When something like that appears in pristine condition, collectors go wild. And that's when the value skyrockets. But perhaps the most intriguing theory surrounding the 2010 P5-cent coin involves what insiders sometimes call a transitional composition anomaly. Normally, modern nickels are made from a blend of 75% copper and 25% nickel. However, there have been whispers in the collecting community that a few experimental planchets, metal blanks used for striking coins, may have been accidentally mixed into regular production. If a nickel were struck on the wrong metal composition, its weight, color, and magnetic properties could be completely different from normal coins. Such a mistake would be incredibly rare, and rarity is exactly what drives million-dollar prices in the world of numismatics. Imagine someone dropping one of those coins into a tip jar, a vending machine, or an old piggy bank without realizing what it truly was. Stories like this are exactly why collectors obsessively check their change. In fact, one fascinating story circulated among coin forums a few years ago about a man cleaning out his late grandfather's workshop. Inside a dusty coffee can filled with random hardware and spare coins, he noticed a slightly unusual 2010 nickel with strange doubling around the lettering. Curious, he took it to a coin dealer who suggested sending it for professional grading. Weeks later, when the grading results came back confirming a major mint error, the coin community exploded with excitement. The piece reportedly attracted offers that climbed into the hundreds of thousands, and some collectors speculated that if the right buyer appeared at the right auction, it could reach into the multi-million-dollar range. That possibility alone turned the humble 2010 P nickel into a legend among modern coin hunters. But here's what makes this story even more thrilling. Billions of these coins were released into circulation. That means they could still be hiding anywhere, in cash registers, forgotten coin jars, glove compartments, or even the loose change sitting on your dresser right now. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. And that's exactly why videos like this exist, because every once in a while, someone actually does find one. Another factor pushing collectors to chase this coin is the era it represents. By 2010, coin production technology had become incredibly advanced, making dramatic mint errors much rarer than they were decades earlier. When a big mistake slips through in a modern coin, it becomes an instant conversation piece. Collectors love the contrast. A coin that should have been perfect but somehow wasn't. That unexpected flaw turns a 5-cent piece into a historical artifact. Now think about the psychology of collecting. Imagine being the person who discovers one of the rarest modern nickels ever produced. Imagine sending it to auction, watching bidders compete, the numbers climbing higher and higher while the auctioneer's voice echoes through the room. Suddenly, the same coin that once bought a piece of candy is now buying a luxury car, then a house, then perhaps even a private island. That is the magic of rare coins. But here's the part you really need to pay attention to if you're hoping to find one. Experts say the most valuable 2010 P nickels often show unusual characteristics, strange doubling around the letters Liberty or the date, a misaligned Monticello on the reverse, unusual weight differences, or odd coloration caused by incorrect metal composition. Even tiny details like unusually sharp steps on the Monticello building, something called a full step strike, can make a huge difference in value when combined with an error. That's why collectors study these coins under magnification, sometimes spending hours examining a single nickel. And before you dismiss the idea that one of these could still be out there, remember something important. Many of the greatest coin discoveries in history were made decades after the coins were minted. People spend them, lose them, stash them away, and forget about them. Time passes, and suddenly an ordinary coin becomes an extraordinary treasure. Which brings us back to the question that started this video. Could a 2010 P5-cent coin worth up to $10 million be hiding in plain sight right now? The answer is yes, and that possibility is exactly why collectors keep searching. But don't go anywhere yet, because the story gets even more interesting from here. Remember how I mentioned another 2010 nickel earlier? The one from a different mint? In a moment, we're going to explore a version of this coin that has sparked even more debate among collectors. A coin with a mysterious mint mark and rumors of an even stranger production error. Some experts believe only a handful may exist, quietly circulating among ordinary pocket change. So before you check your coin jar, make sure you stay with me, because the next coin in this series might completely change the way you look at every nickel you find.